Hey guys, thank you for being here. So I've been back in Fiji for about 6 years now. I'm really happy about it, really happy about it. I've been waiting almost 20 years for this to happen. So, just being able to be back home with my family, my community, the environment I grew up in. So, things are good. I'm really glad the way things are going at this point. My typical day starts at around 6:30 a.m. and it goes up until 8 p.m. or even longer. It just depends on what's going on at the farm. We employ and support 9 families locally and about 50 individuals altogether, and we've done the same thing in each and every country that we've lived in. We encourage both husbands and wives to take part in formal work, and we show them the benefits of having dual incomes. I educate and place women and school dropouts in leadership roles. Like, for example, my projects manager is a 17-year-old boy who dropped out of school when he was 12, and he's been with me ever since then. So as a unified body, we produce pharmaceutical-grade virgin coconut oil. We do handmade soaps. We export kava. We also do poultry and eggs, free-range poultry and eggs. Our women and our boys are shown that even without a formal education, if you take the time, anybody is able to do just about anything they desire. It's just a matter of changing attitudes. We were brought up very religious, but because of my parents' education and traveling and everything, they began to understand that, the world is different, everything is changing, and you can't stick to that old way over and over again because it just doesn't work. So whatever that didn't sort of help us to progress in our own lives, we just kind of let go of those things within our own culture. Despite having that evolution in our culture, some old school ideas still sort of remain there amongst our family and, everyone around them. When I first came in and I told people that I wanted to do farming, they were like, why would someone who's been abroad his whole life decide to come back and even be able to do farming? So the usual thing was, I would get told, why did you do farming? You probably weren't smart enough, or you weren't, good enough good enough to handle it. You should have been a lawyer, or you should have been an accountant, or you should have been a doctor, kind of thing. But, and then also comparing me to my dad, saying, look at his father's position, and why are you being a farmer? But then that's not me. Why would I want to be my father and not myself? So I pretty much understood in the first year of being here that a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people in Fiji were about, money, who you knew, and your name, and your status, and all of that stuff. But I was kind of surprised how far it was taken over here in Fiji. I had to deal with it in New York, but over here, I thought it was more sort of boom, right there in your face. So the idea that I started to understand that the idea people had of what life is like overseas is just from the TV, but what the actual reality is completely different. One thing that I did learn being abroad was the possibilities and that you could do things in many different ways in life, and it didn't have to be this one thing that you're taught all throughout your life, that this and this and this equals this. There are many other ways of doing things. If I had listened to that advice, I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing now. New York was good. I'm grateful for the education I got and the work experience, and because of the work and everything, work, clients, and my friends, I got to experience the $1 million apartments, limos to clubs, the so-called good life. But going through all of that, I never was happy. I had fun. I had a lot of fun. But I never was happy with, the situation I was in. And I felt really, really out of place. So the lifestyle, the money, everything, it just didn't do it for me. And even the people who I worked with on a regular basis, all they would talk about all day, every day, is how they are feeling alone, how they don't have time for their families, how they don't have time for themselves. I didn't want to live like that, So I just had to make that choice of leaving. What solidified my sort of decision to leave New York was working with a successful entrepreneur and his friends, and they showed me that work and happiness can go together. So my boss had a building he owned in one of the trendiest neighborhoods in New York called Soho. And what he did was rented out the building, and the money he made from that, he set up sustainable businesses all around the US, and he would use that money to help people. It clicked to me. It's like, that is what I want my life to be. I want to be able to do what I love and also help people. So throughout my life, I met a lot of individuals. And these people made, so many things possible in their lives with whatever little they had, like street children in Uganda, who, through their love of hip-hop and breakdance, made international careers out of what they're doing, helping to mend relationships within their own society that had come up because of war and other reasons. They even set up, support groups for at-risk kids like them. Or a man who, in the 50 years of his life, hadn't worked a single job ever, but then one day decided, I'm going to be a social justice activist. And within 8 years, he was all over national TV. He was, fighting cases without an education in law, and he was winning these cases. Or another man who was working in my dad's office, serving my dad coffee and tea and sweeping his floors. My dad trained him to become a programmer and a project leader. So we were all given the opportunity, but the main thing was all of us were determined to make a meaningful change in our lives. I gave up my old life so I'd be able to figure out who I was as a person. And I had to leave New York, leave that environment and the people, because I wouldn't have been able to figure out who I was. Because what I was there was fake. That wasn't me. I was trying to fit in with the crowd and to make everyone like me or be the same as them. So for me, at least, my decision to come back has been the best. I love the relaxed lifestyle we have over here, the freedoms we get to enjoy and sometimes we take for granted. The opportunities here are endless. And in my view, you have a greater chance of doing something for yourself over here than you do abroad. The markets are saturated abroad, and trying to do your own thing has just become too hard. But here, you have an environment which is full of possibilities, literally a blank canvas. You just have to think outside of the box. Look at your talents. Look at what you love to do. I work 7 days a week for 4 months straight, and I do it because I want what I'm doing to be successful, and I want to prove to people that I can do anything I want, anything, if I put my mind to it. And also because I have a lot of people who are relying on me. I'm heavily invested in uplifting my community through the work I do, because both sides of my family started off extremely poor, but worked hard to get to where they are. I don't chase the money. Money is a result of what I do, and it's not my goal in life, though. My goal in life is to be happy. It's happiness. And my purpose is to help other people. These two simple truths took a long time for me, and the realization wasn't some kind of like a miraculous change or a big thing that happened. But it was, a slow build-up. You just have to be more aware of, your situations and be aware of your environment. Many people all over the world dream of being rich and moving to a place where they can have, ocean views, white sandy beaches, fresh food, and all of that stuff. The beauty of, what we have here, the beauty of Fiji is that it's all available to us. You don't have to be a rich person to be able to afford these things. So we should all try to use our capacity to build up our own thing within our own country. There's no need to leave Fiji to do something for yourself. I'm living proof of it. You can do everything right here in our own country. Fiji is really the best place to be. And the only way you can predict your future is by creating it. Thank you.